welcome to Work the Left Side. Another episode this week for you, and I am happy to say I am joined by the Big Hoss Rogan, obviously one half of Reece Rogan. You will have seen them absolutely tearing it up all over the place recently. These guys are just absolutely smashing it. So yeah, dude, thank you so much for joining me and having a chat.
It's a pleasure to be on. It's always baffling that people are interested in hearing our story outside of the ring, because we are these very almost silent bruisers. It's always baffling to hear people like yourself interested in hearing what we're like outside of the ring. So it's a pleasure to come on. I've seen you have some great interviews previously with some really close friends, and they've always putting yourself over. So it's good to be here.
Awesome, thank you. That's always nice to hear as well. So, but yeah, I mean, obviously as fans, it's just awesome to be able to talk to you guys. We get to see what you do in the ring, but it's just nice to pick your brains sometimes and just talk about just how you got into it, why you got into it, future goals, like any lists that have been made, and just stuff like that. So, yeah, that's the reason I like talking to you guys.
Yeah, I'm a very open book, to be fair. I'm happy to answer any questions, or when I do one of these podcasts again. There's nothing really to hold back, because I think at the end of the day, every wrestler is a fan themselves. A lot of the wrestlers say, "Oh, I don't like the word mark," but the biggest marks are the boys in the back, because it's a difference between a fan buying a ticket and a guy saying, "Hey, I'm going to put thousands of pounds into learning how to wrestle. I want to learn to get dropped on my head." The biggest marks are the ones in the ring, because they took it that step forward.
Definitely. That's and yeah, I've heard a few people sort of say that, and I fully agree, kind of thing, because yeah, you must love the business to put yourself through that sort of stuff, especially when you're starting out and it's just training and bump after bump. It's a long road before you start getting the gratification of the hard work.
Yeah, a lot of people as well. I mean, you get that frustration. A lot of people get frustrated when they're not getting where they want to be, or they're not doing what they want to do in seconds, or they're not, "Hey, I've been here for 6 weeks. Why am I not in WWE?" It's kind of like, come on, guys. Use that frustration as motivation. Everyone learns at different times. I've seen people older than me, younger than me, who have just gone on to do stuff at different times. Everyone is different. You've just got to really focus on yourself. Me and Reece, for example, Reece is a little older than me. I started when I was very young, but I came and went and back and forth where Reece started, and he never stopped. He's kind of got the bug. But it took him longer to get it, if that makes sense. So it took him many years to get to show level. And then when I was younger, I kind of picked it up really quickly, but I fell out of love with it, because when you become a teenager, all these new things come into your life, friends, and been an idiot. I kind of drifted apart wrestling and fell out of love with it. And then I just thought, hey, the training schools come back to my neighbourhood. I'll give it a go. And as I say, the rest is history, I guess.
Yes. Well, that leads us into one of the generic questions that I generally ask everybody. What made you want to do it in the first place? Was you a fan from childhood? Was it something you saw advertised and you thought, I could do that? Did you know somebody who was doing it? Yeah. What gave you that push to walk through the training room doors?
So my story's a bit different. So I was born with a heart defect, and I was a very small kid. Kind of ironic that I now call myself the Big Hoss. I was a very small kid. I was very skinny, to the point my parents they didn't know if I was going to put weight on. But yeah, I had a heart defect. I had a lot of heart operations growing up, and wrestling was kind of like an outlet. It was a form of an escapism, and obviously when you go to the camp holidays, one of the entertainments would be wrestling. And it turns out the wrestling was advertised in a training school in Hull, where I happened to be based. And my parents, not go over enough, were just so supportive. It was like, hey, you want to give it a go? Because there was all these other activities I wanted to do. But at the time growing up, things like rugby, it was kind of like, hey, but you're fragile, you made of glass, blah, blah, blah. But I got stronger as I got older, and medicine became more better. But yeah, basically, jumping forward to the wrestling, when I went, I just fell in love with it straight away. The falling on the crash mats and building up your strength and building up your confidence, because I was a very shy kid. And as I got older and I got bigger, and I surprised doctors and got stronger and blah, blah, blah. I just said, like, I want to take this a step further. And my parents saw me, and they was obviously trying to wrap me bubble wrap, like, hey, you sure you want to do this? But they saw me smashing up the trampoline, and they saw me jumping off the couch and jumping off the wardrobes, and I think they just got sick of me smashing up the back garden. It's like, right, if you want to wrestle, we'll pay for you to go and train and wrestle.
Properly.
And then I just fell in love with it from there. And I was about 10, and I did that from about 10 till 14.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. So you started off young then, you know, you kind of like, what school was it that did you go to first? Obviously, you're saying Hull. I'm guessing you would have crossed paths with, obviously, NGW training at some point.
So this was called PWA, and this originally was where all the NGW guys was, like your Matt Myers and your Nathan Cruz. I originally met all these guys like a decade ago. So they've all seen me go from this skinny, small, shy kid into this big bruising guy, and I've known them again, obviously, since I was a kid. And PWA, looking back, it probably wasn't the best school. As a kid, you don't really know, do you? All you see is a wrestling ring, and you think, this is it. This is WrestleMania or something. And you just get hooked, man. Having everyone go, hey, a suplex. It's learning the inner workings. Looking back, I don't know if I made a good choice training so young, because the body is still developing. I don't know if it's a good idea to be taking moves such a young age. Nowadays, it's a bit more taboo to see kids training. You have to wait until like 16 almost nowadays. But everyone's got different opinions. I probably wouldn't change a thing, because you need to learn to fall. So that fear of falling, I never really had that, because as I trained at such a young age, I no longer have the fear of falling. So
yeah, because that's the thing. I mean, anybody who's got kids will know kids are fearless. You know, you lose that with age. But if you're doing, like, you know, the wrestling and stuff from a young age, and you're constantly instilling that as you get older, you don't lose that fear, that fearlessness. Basically, you retain the fearlessness of just taking bumps. You know, kids take bumps for the fun of it. And I think, yeah, you know, depending if you start training to be a wrestler young enough, well, not too young, but at the right age, you maintain that fearlessness, and it just gets, you know, stronger.
yeah, I've got a 2-year-old, and I swear it's like an episode of Jackass every day. He's 2 years old, and he's jumping off the back of the couch. He's like, right, welcome to Jackass. I'm going to scare you today. It's like, what are you doing? Yeah, that's exactly it, every single day. And he can't see what he's doing, but all I see is I'm seeing a kid do a swanton off the back of the couch. And I'm like, what's going on here? You're 2 years old. I'm like, stuff you're seeing at least. Yourself a bit.
I love that stuff though. But yeah, I think that's what wrestling does. It helps you to keep that fearless. Like, well, it's not fearlessness, but it's confidence of being able to take a bump. You know, you don't fear a bump because you've got the confidence to take it, as opposed to not knowing any better.
Yeah, the best way to describe it, right? So when you're growing up and you fall off a bike, you've probably been told, put your hands down and protect yourself. So I want you to imagine you're joining training at, say, 20 years old. And for the past 20 years, you've now been told, right, don't put your hands down. Yeah. That's hard to wrap your head around. I don't know if you've ever been in a bumped in a ring or anything, but it's hard to wrap your head around. Like,
no, it's autopilot, isn't it? Like you said, you've got it instilled. You protect yourself. If you're falling, you automatically do whatever you can do.
Yeah.
Just get your hands down and stop. Whereas obviously you guys, it's like no, you learn how to spread the weight kind of thing.
Yeah, if you don't land flat, that bump's gonna hurt. You can put as much padding as you want on a ring, or as little padding as you want, or a spring or no spring. If you put your hands down, there's a good chance you're gonna snap your wrist.
Yep.
But if you fall off a bike, you're putting your hands down. You're gonna break your own fall with your hands. And it's weird to just rewire your brain. I see a lot of people join training at an older age, and it's harder for them to do their bumps, I think, just because, again, they're rewiring the brain. But once you get it, you do have it. It's just getting to that point, getting over the fear, like, okay, I can trust this now. And weirdly, the bigger bumps are the ones that are more painless, because then the ring comes into action. You kind of want to take the bigger bumps because the spring comes into action. Breaking all secrets here.
Pulling back that curtain. But yeah, no, that does make sense. And I can imagine as well, even though it's only like a split second, that the higher the bump, the bigger the bump, the more time you've got to kind of position, and to land. Whereas the quick short bumps, it's sudden. You're on the mat and it's like, damn it. It's a sudden impact kind of thing, and not the Van Damme film, just a bosh.
Yeah, it is a shot to the system, it really is. And I think adrenaline plays a huge part. When the adrenaline wears off and you're in the car the way home, it's like, I feel like you've been in a car crash. But when you're in there, you feel like you're on top of the world, man. Like I'm a naturally quiet guy, but when I'm out there, I'm someone completely different. And again, it comes back to that adrenaline and that escapism. There's nothing like wrestling. There really isn't.
No, I can only imagine, and from stories that I've heard in talking to various people, the adrenaline thing is definitely something that's come up a few times, and it's just kind of like, if you could bottle it, dude, you guys would be millionaires kind of thing, because it's the ultimate pain relief for a couple of hours at least.
The ultimate pain relief. That's a good way of putting it. I mean, I imagine there's a lot of situations I've been in where I was like, man, I wish I could have a bit of that adrenaline now. Unfortunately, I just have to deal with my caffeine addiction instead. So
there we go. That's it. Got a toothache, shot of adrenaline, bosh, sorted. So, but obviously, yeah. So that was your journey in. As you sort of said, you got in at a really young age. You kind of fell out of love with it, which I think majority of people who watch wrestling or do wrestling, I think a lot of people I've spoken to, there's that 3 or 4 year period, like you sort of say, when they get to 16, 17, they kind of dip out and then kind of get pulled back in again. So what pulled you back?
As a teenager, like I say, you just get them distractions. You get all your friends are going off and doing the stuff, and you just want to be a part of them, don't you? You just want to be a part of that crew. But you don't realise, the older you get, everyone has their own path and their own goals, and people make mistakes, and you've just got to let them kind of do their own mistakes.
That's it, exactly. So what pulled you back in then? Was there like a moment? Did you have an epiphany, or did you just think, you know what, I miss doing it, I'm going back? So
the NGW school moved almost like a street away from my house, and I was like, right, I'm going to give it one more go. And if I don't enjoy it, then I can say I'll give it a go. I always want to say at least I've tried. Yeah. And I went back, and that first session, Jesus Christ, I thought I was going to die. I pretty sure I puked in the toilets. It was horrible. So I probably didn't enjoy that first session back, but again, that bug, that adrenaline is back already, even though it was only a training session. And there wasn't a lot of wrestling fans at the school I went to or around my area or jobs I'd been in. So to be around people that liked wrestling, that almost brought me back more than the actual, hey, I want to be on shows. It was more being around like-minded people like myself and just talking about, hey, what happened on Raw? Or, hey, did you watch the pay-per-view? Just talking about wrestling again with people that enjoyed wrestling kept bringing me back. And as time went along, I met Reece, and weirdly, everyone was like, "Hey, you look like Reece. Hey, you look like Reece." And I started helping out on the shows and building up my getting better, building up my readiness for shows. And the idea came up, "Hey, you look like Reece. So why don't we put you together? Just try it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. What you got to lose?" And Reece at that point was trying to find his footing as well. He was just Reece, but then you put myself with him, and it kind of just clicked. I don't know how to explain it beyond right place, right time. It honestly just was.
Chemistry. A lot of people that have talked about, because obviously nobody joins a wrestling school as part of a tag team. Everybody joins a wrestling school as a singles wrestler, and then the path takes them one way or the other. And when they join, they create a team. It's always that chemistry. It's all about chemistry. And it seems like obviously you two guys, you've got it in spades. Anybody who's seen you in action, seen your matches, the chemistry's there. It doesn't feel like it doesn't look like it was forced. And by the sounds of it, it was just a very natural development.
Well, firstly, I really appreciate the praise about the chemistry, because I honestly believe you can't teach chemistry. It's something you either got or you don't have. You could throw anyone together, even if there was twins. If they don't have the chemistry, they don't have the chemistry. At first, it was kind of like Reece was so opening to, hey, embracing me, like, hey, I want to give this a go. Reece could have easily said, "I'm doing my own thing. I'm already on shows." But the fact he was so open to the idea meant a lot to me, and that instantly made me like have respect for this guy. And then the chemistry became a real friendship, and I think that's where the chemistry came from. And now we really are just like brothers. I mean, you do have the odd time where we're bickering and stuff. You want to see us both trying to plan a match. If we've both got a completely different idea, you want to be in a fly in that room. But yeah, it's weirdly how quick it came. I don't know if you've heard Scotty Rock. I imagine you've heard Scotty Rock.
Yeah, Scotty is awesome.
Scotty Rock. Everyone loves Scotty.
Scotty's awesome. I've joked about. I'm going to create a T-shirt at some point. That's just hashtag Scotty is awesome. I'm going to get that merch out there.
The first tag match we had on a show was against Scotty Rock and his partner at the time, and again it was just, we couldn't have had a better opening match. It was just a really enjoyable one, and people was like, right, there's something here. And it took us a while to find our own footing, I guess, trying to find our own moves, trying to find our own entrance, just trying to find who we are as an identity. But then we realised that the identity is the fact, right? You imagine a bully, a school bully. Now imagine there's two of them. And then it's two bookends. It's just two bookends, and the fact we look alike, that is the gimmick. And we let the fans decide on that entrance. If you've never heard us before, seen us before, and you see these two big guys come out and look alike, you, the fan, can decide, are these brothers? Are they friends? Are they cousins? You can make up your own backstory, and in your mind, you can make up that to fit your own pitch in your head, and that fits the match. But yeah, I would like to think now, after 5 years, I can look at Reece now, and he knows what I'm trying to tell him in the ring. And that's weird, man. That's so scary. The fact we can just grab a guy in a certain way. Like if I get a guy in like rock bottom, for example, Reece will know what I'm signaling for. And that's crazy, man.
That's awesome.
Anyone else.
That's awesome though, because it's like I said, it's 4 or 5 years of hard work, communication, trust, and again chemistry. Just each other's body language, like you'd be able to tell what the other one's setting up for based on how they're standing, or if the shoulder drops or anything like that. You'll know each other's movements, down to down to like a fine touch, I suppose.
Yeah, we've been very fortunate that we've been in there with some really good opponents, and we've had the likes of Nathan Cruz and Matt Myers teaching us, Liam Slayer, Sam Bailey has been really good at giving us advice. There's guys along the way who've took time to really give us every bit of advice they can. And it's not a lot of tag team wrestling guys. A lot of people do tag team wrestling, but there's not a lot of guys just dedicated to tag teams. So you want to grab knowledge from every single person, not just one person. Just grab every bit of knowledge you can. And we're just fortunate that people are taking the time out to just say, hey, here's some advice, here's some feedback. It doesn't go unnoticed. People like yourself giving us a bit of praise, it means a lot. It does go a long way, and it's met with appreciation.
Well, obviously from our side of things, the kind words are the only way that we can show our appreciation for what you guys do in the ring, kind of thing. So that's our way of saying thank you. So, but yeah, you obviously listed, Matt Myers, Nathan Cruz, Liam Slater, Sam Bailey, 4 of the, cream of the crop guys. But for me, when it comes to, passing on knowledge and, training, I've done a lot of stuff with the Pursuit guys recently. Obviously, Liam's very much head dude there. Spoke to Vuzic recently, and he's got Myers, Cruz, and Liam listed as his top 3 trainers.
Yeah, so, PPW at the moment, that's a factory just pumping out great guys. I imagine you watched their first show. I was watching that and I was like, man, I don't want to pull back the curtain again, but me and Reece was meant to be on that. I won't say anything else, just in case something else comes up in the future. Maybe one day. But yeah, I was watching that, and that was it was amazing, man. They're creating something really special down there. Kemper, who absolutely killed it. Big Kemper, who fucking demolished Nathan Black. big future. Jack Maxwell, fucking does not get enough credit. He's got something different, man. There's something different about Jack Maxwell. Like, if you put him on a card, he'll be different to everything else. Hardman Dan, or HMD as he's going by now, very confident, very charismatic. He's going to be a star. He's trying to get out there. And Joe Wade, got a bit of a Joe Wade. Again, just seeing him over the years, because when I first met Joe Wade, he was doing the flips and he had the blonde hair and he was at Tidal. But now he's really found himself. He's found his inner personality. He's just been himself. And how can you not mention Liam and Leon?
Yeah, I think that's just. I think he just speaks for himself. It's just, but yeah, all of those guys, absolutely amazing. Jack Maxwell, as you sort of said, I had the pleasure of talking to him a few weeks ago. Hardman Dan is on in a few weeks, so I'll be talking to him then. But also, I think it was the Jack Maxwell thing that kind of put us in contact, because I was talking about Jack Maxwell, and then I was talking about Fight Factory, and then we started talking. So I'll use this as a segue into, we'll talk Fight Factory, because I think they're a promotion that deserves more eyes on the prize. They're a very, very good promotion, but they're kind of under the radar for some people, I think, at the minute, and they need to be, on everybody's radar.
Yeah, so Fight Factory, they need to push their footage more. They need to get their footage out there, because they have these really good venues and these really good stages, and it's like these talents like KD, you probably never heard of him, fantastic talent. Like, you should be getting out there. I feel like they just need to show themselves more, get the footage out there on social media. But they were great group. Becca and Dutch, the owners. It's a family-run business. They really, really care for this business. And this Body Slams to Cancer show is coming up. It's going to be the biggest show ever. All the profits are going to different cancer researches. Amazing. Just giving everyone not only an opportunity, but giving every penny to charities. It means a lot to me personally. It means a lot to all the talent. And again, I can't believe Fight Factory enough, because when we first got up the ladder in NGW, Fight Factory was the first promotion to give me and Reece our first outside booking. And we came in, and I mean, we was green. I bet we was very new. But they didn't say, hey, no, we don't want them. They gave us an opportunity. And we'll never forget that. And now we're going to the ladder more and more. We don't forget that. And we'll happily go back and wrestle anyone they want us to and pay them in any way we can because they deserve it.
That's awesome to hear. But yeah, I say, man, the whole, the charity show coming up, obviously it's a great cause. There's been a few, there was like one more round last month in Sheffield that raised money for Cavendish cancer research. Obviously, yeah, Fight Factory are doing something very soon. If anybody can get to these shows, if anybody can support these shows, do so. It's a great cause, and it'll be a great night of entertainment as well, because it is, like I say, Fight Factory are a very good promotion. The talent, obviously, Jack Maxwell will be there. You guys are going to. Are you there by yourself, or are you there as a tag team?
Yes, Reece unfortunately is unavailable for this one, so yeah. I will be in singles competition with a guy called Jack of Clubs. He's a very confident, cocky young kid. He has everything that I didn't have when I first started. He has the looks, he has the height, he has the personality, and I look at him and I'm like, you little shit, man. You have everything so early on. And sometimes I'm like, Jack, you're getting a bit of an ego, you man. Calm down. And this isn't me like shooting or anything. This is me just saying like straight up, like, I'm going to teach him a lesson on October 28th. He's going to learn some respect. Like, no one's told him yet, but he's going to learn. I don't think everyone should come, because if you like chops, you're a fan of Gunther, if you want to see some chops, this poor kid's going to get messed up.
He's going to have a chest like Chris Jericho afterwards.
Ooh.
His poor chest is going to be deflated, shall we say. But yeah, obviously, it'll be awesome to see you in singles action as well, because obviously, yeah, a lot of people are used to, they automatically associate, you with tag team wrestling. So to see you in singles is going to be very, very enjoyable and very cool. We kind of touched upon this before we hit record, so I'll mention it now. Obviously, yeah, singles, obviously, you are part of Reece Rogan. But going forward, are you starting to eye up, singles matches, or are you looking to get more tag team titles in other promotions?
The singles stuff is rare. It's not something me or Reece are seeking out. If the opportunity comes, then we'll both like, hey, go do it. Go do your own thing. If at any point Reece said, I want to go do my own thing, I would completely understand. But at the moment, our brains think like tag team wrestlers. We're holding 3 tag team champions in different companies up and down the country. And that at the moment is our goal. Because there is very few tag teams at the moment. Proper tag teams. We have the opportunity at North coming up. We have some other cool stuff in the pipeline. And we just really want to focus on tag team wrestling. But that doesn't mean that singles wrestling is not at least on our radar. Because again, if the opportunity does come up, like on October 28th at Fight Factory, we'll take that opportunity and we'll prove to everyone that we can do it as well. I'll be blowing up my ass and I'll be wanting to tag out. Like, where's Reece? And I've been looking at the corner like, I've messed up here. That's where the caffeine comes in. Always have a caffeine.
That's the one, and the adrenaline, obviously.
Yes.
I hope you should. So, but yeah, tag team wrestling, man. Obviously, you mentioned, you're holding 3 belts at the minute. For people who don't know, do you want to just shout out which 3 titles you are currently holding?
So we are currently the Fight Factory Tag Team Champions. We've been at them quite a while. We are the Odyssey Tag Team Champions down in Morecambe. We won them in a TLC match. That was pretty brutal. Recommend checking that one out. And we are the BWR Tag Team Champions. And I'm looking forward for people seeing our opponents coming up for BWR because I think people are going to like it. I think people are going to like our next BWR match. That's
Nice.
it. What?
But again, BWR, awesome promotion, which I think definitely people need to check out. Obviously, everybody involved in PWR is just top notch kind of thing, and the fact that you hold the belts again speaks volumes. For you guys as a team. These are like top tier promotions that that you're talking about, and you're at the top of the mountain. But I do think tag team wrestling is something that is coming back in, with a vengeance. I've spoken about this to a few people recently, and yeah, man, there seems to be more. There's not, like I said, they're very widely spread out at the minute, but there does seem to be more and more tag teams like forming. And making a name for himself as a tag team.
Yeah, it's just a wide open market at the moment, and like you say, people are taking that opportunity and taking that as a chance. Like, hey, we've always been a tag team. It's a wide open market. Let's give it a go. I massively encourage it. What have you got to lose as a talent? If you see a wide open market, take advantage of it. If you and your partner or someone you have chemistry, give it a go. What have you got to lose? There's nothing to lose. I would highly recommend, if anyone's listening to this, that has a tiny bit of interest in tag team wrestling, just give it a go, man. There's nothing like a tag team match because it's different to everything else on the card. You've got 4 guys.
You've got that hot tag. Obviously, one of my, obviously, with the exception of yourself, within probably my top 5 tag teams at the minute. Obviously, you guys, we've got Crash Boat, we've got Misery Business. They're the first 2 that jump out at me. We mentioned Joe Wade earlier. You put him with Alan Kay. I think that's a formidable team.
Alan Kay, that's another guy. I've known Alan for a good few years now, and it's really good to see him now getting more praise, getting more eyes on him. I think him with Joe, is it True Grit where they're getting more opportunities on?
Yeah.
Good to see Alan Kay getting out there. Again, a very humble guy, a guy that he just loves wrestling and loves his family, and it comes across. But at the same time, when that bell rings, that nice guy becomes a horrible bastard. Sorry for swearing.
No, go for it. He said it himself when I spoke to him. He's like, I try to be nice, but once I get them leather pants on, I'm a miserable bastard. And so we blame that it's the leather pants, man. You know what I mean? They're gonna chafe. They're gonna make you miserable. You know what I mean? Just put it on.
That's the headline then from this podcast. Tights on, horrible bastard. But yeah, put this clip out there, man. Let people know. I want a Reece Rogan versus Misery Business. Put it out there, man. I want that match. I want Alan Kay to try and lariat my head off. Because I'll tell you what, I ain't going down, man. I'm going to take his head off right back. We're going to take his head off. Get me and Alan Kay in a ring. Get Joe Wade to try his kicks, man. I would love to see him try. We have 3 belts. If they want to come and try to take one, I happily welcome it. Happily.
Well, they depending on what happens next month at True Grit, as you mentioned, they are in a ladder match next month for the True Grit tag team titles. So, if Misery Business are successful in getting the titles, then, that could be a fourth one for the collection.
Yeah, or a PPW2. Wink.
Yes. Dude, the possibilities are endless. That's the thing. And that's one of the things I love about wrestling is just fantasy booking. I just love thinking about like what matches everybody could have. And I think that's the thing now as well, because, there's that much talent out there. I don't know, 10 years ago or so, it sort of seemed like all the big promotions, it was all the same guys doing the same matches everywhere. But there's that much talent now. You can go to different shows and see varied, talent on different shows, and that must make it more exciting for you guys as well.
The thing that baffles me is like people are like, "Hey, let's get these guys from Hull," because that's the hardest thing from being a wrestler is getting your first outside booking. It's very easy for your school to book you, but to get outside bookings, it's hard. And then you say, oh, I'm from Hull. All the big companies are based like Manchester, Sheffield, and blah, blah, blah. It's a long way away. And it's hard to convince people, but hey, let's book these guys from far away. So the fact that people see something in us enough to book us and drive us all the way there, it blows my mind. But it means we're doing something right. We must be doing something right if people are saying, hey, they are worth bringing them down. And it doesn't go noticed. And when we do travel, like miles and miles, like Morecambe, for example, bringing our best stuff, we're bringing our A game because we want a point to prove, like, hey, we're worth it. Bring us along. We're going to give it our best.
That's it. Exactly. And obviously, you mentioned Odyssey. I think I was talking to, I think it was RPD recently. Obviously, he's heavily associated with Odyssey, and it makes me laugh because I think there's a saying in Morecambe where, you know, it's the one, wrestling is still real in Morecambe. You know, they get so into it, and if you go to an Odyssey show, it's just next level kind of thing. Wrestling is still real to these guys.
So here's a story. It was literally just the other week when we won the tag belts there, and we are like the henchman for their main villain, their main heel. And the show ended with him helping us win the tag team titles in this TLC. And we're hitting the crowd. We're almost going to the front row. We just raise our belts up. And I feel so sorry because when I look down, this kid and this woman are in tears. And at the moment, I'm like, this is so tense. Me being me, actually being a heel, pretend to walk away and I ask the referee to come back with me. And I get the referee to raise my hand in front of him again. Like, dick. I'm a dickhead. But it's creating emotion, man. There's nothing like Morecambe. It's a different breed, man. It's weird. It's like pantomime. It's theatrical. It's entertainment. It's weird. It's hard to explain. Up here, up in this side of the country, it's a lot more like smarky. It's a lot more like, hey, we know what you're doing. We're a part of the joke. We're a part of the show. Over there, it's like you're the show, we're the fans. Almost like an old school vibe.
Yeah.
So it's weird, man. But I'd recommend every fan at least once goes and checks out a Morecambe show just to see some of these reactions.
It just reminds me of like the old school. Again, I don't know how far back obviously you watch wrestling or what you watched at any given point, but it's like I can imagine it being very much like the Dudleys in ECW in like '96 or '97, where the fans were just literally like just wanting to stab the hell out of Bully Ray kind of thing. It's still just that sort of like it's pre-kayfabe. You know what I mean? It's genuine. It's emotion. They are that thoroughly invested in it. It just, that's awesome to me, though. I love that stuff.
You hit the nail on the head, mate. I mean, it's like pre-kayfabe. I think even if they do know what's going on, I think it's just so easy for them to get lost in the transition of the matches. The shows like slowly build up. They'll start off in a bit of it's a feeling out process, and then about the second or third match, they're fully invested. I think they just forget. I think that's the best part of any show. My goal on any moment or any show for at least 1 second is to make you, the viewer, think, wait, is this real? Yeah. Even if it's just a second, even if we're just having a trade-off, like me and Alan Cade is throwing bombs, if that makes you just for 1 second doubt what you're watching, then I've done my job. And that's my goal. That's my goal.
That's it, exactly. And that's what wrestling does at its peak. It just pulls you in. A great match pulls you in, and we all fans talk about suspension of disbelief, but we talk about it like we do it on purpose. But a great match will make you suspend your disbelief without you even realizing it, kind of thing.
Exactly. That's why we as fans and we as workers or we as whatever. There's a reason this Twitter community is so vocal. The reason you tune in, I tune in, is because we're invested. The reason we have favorite wrestlers and worst wrestlers is because we're feeling emotion. And that means that they're doing their job. The worst thing you can do is skip a match because it means you're not asked. If you're watching a match, if you like it, or even if you hate it, you're feeling something. And that's why wrestling's amazing. That's why you and me are still watching it today.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. That's what it just. It amazes me sometimes. I mean, obviously, it's all selective, but yeah, I just kind of like when you're trying to talk to, like, you either get it or you don't. I think it's one of those things. Unfortunately, you can't explain the awesomeness to it if it's not clicking, and it's just like, you'll never know. But that's okay. But I know, so that makes me slightly better than you.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You hit the nail on the head. You can't explain it. I work with a lot of like lads, and the reaction is always like, "Oh, wrestling, yeah, but that's that fake stuff, innit?" I could stand there for 10 minutes and explain to it that this black eye, you can barely see at the moment, isn't fake. But what's the point? Yeah. You're not the target audience, so why waste my point? I ain't gonna stand here for 10 minutes explaining to you why driving home after being taking a chair shot hurts, or why me making that kid cry was causing emotion. What's the point?
Sorry, I'm still laughing at the thought of that poor child.
It still haunts me.
No. Waking up like in shivers and tears, like, just no, child.
It's just one of those things. It's like, focus on the target audience. There is no point arguing with a non-wrestling fan because they'll never get it.
But it's always nice when one does. Every now and again, somebody will see something, or it's like, okay, you've come over to the good side. Well, we'll welcome you. But another promotion, a bit closer to myself, Tidal. I think you kind of be very synonymous with Tidal now. They are definitely one of the promotions I would associate, with you guys. How do you find it, man? Because it's a parish. Obviously, Tidal's got quite a good legacy. Obviously under new management nowadays, but still doing very, very well. And yeah, man, the parish as a venue is very cool.
Tidal is for us, it's the most weirdest promotion because they tend as babyface. That fan base tend as good guys, and we don't know why. It's just literally, we're based from Yorkshire, and our opponents were from Manchester. Our opponents were from elsewhere. So they took us as like, oh, you're our town heroes. Ever since then, we've just been getting these babyface reactions. And you see me and Reece, and we're not the most smiling, we're not the most, hey, look at us. So it's kind of like, don't know why you're cheering us, but if you like watching us beat people up, then I ain't gonna say no. So we kind of go along with it, and we look at it as a learning lesson. It's very fun working for Tidal because we're trying new stuff and we're being these new personalities. We're finding out more about ourselves, what we can do as entertainers. Why? I have no idea.
I can only speak for the people that I know that go to like these like Tidal and True Grit and stuff, is they just appreciate. I mean, like we talked about Alan Kay earlier, Misery Business. They're very much meant to be a heel team, but they get face pops. I think the Yorkshire fans just enjoy brutality. They just enjoy seeing people throwing chops and clotheslines, and if you're doing it well, you're going to get cheered for it. I think that's the only way I can sort of explain.
That must be where we get it from then. It's just as Yorkshire, a lot of just big pair of bastards, aren't we?
So obviously, man, this is Rampage's house. A lot of these people in
the best in the country. I'll say it right now. Like, everyone can have their favourites, and that's fair. But in my opinion, there is no one more believable. There is no one that has more of a presence in the locker room and in the ring. When he walks through that curtain, like, that's it. You best pay attention because this guy means business. And it's the same in the back. No one in the back has more respect as a whole. Everyone has respect for Rampage. He's like the UK Undertaker. Honestly, man, I can't put him over enough.
Somebody once basically just labelled him as the Obi-Wan of British wrestling.
Yeah, I am a Star Wars fan. I don't know a clue what you're on about.
Dang it. That's what's a little test there as well. But basically, just this badass character who just trains. He's awesome at what he does, but he just imparts wisdom and knowledge. Just like that. He's just an endless fountain of knowledge.
What does that to call him, Obi?
Obi Brown. There we go. So, but yeah, obviously, again, it might explain the Yorkshire mentality. I sort of said this is a house Rampage built. So anybody who comes in here showing that kind of brutality, automatically taken to the hearts.
Yeah, well, I will just keep doing what we're doing, man. But honestly, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. Hope that the people keep reacting. Because like I say, it's all about emotion for us. If you people are reacting, we're happy. Even if it is a kid crying.
So we'll so as you say in Tidal, you kind of basically you become faces, in Tidal. So do you still keep to the same, or do you play into it now? Do you kind of find yourself doing little things differently because you're working face?
This is the thing, like our entrance is different because our entrance is kind of like we're more, what's the word I'm looking for, more upbeat. I mean, we're like reacting to people instead of ignoring them and growling at them or giving them like the evil eyes. But in the ring, when that bell rings, we're still exactly the same. We're still doing like a very bruiser type. We're still being very like Dan Hansen, Steve, like Terry Gordy and Steve Williams. We're still very smash mouth. But yeah, we haven't changed our move to be more flashy. We're still just doing this nasty stuff. And the people are reacting. All we're doing is reacting to the chants for, hey, you want another shot? We'll give you another shot. And they eat it up. I love it. And it means a lot to us. It honestly does. And it's somewhat, again, it's a learning lesson. We're not perfect at that style yet, the good guys, because it's not necessarily who we are as characters, but we're embracing it, man. We're trying our best to run with it. And if they keep reacting, we'll keep doing it.
Well, that's it. It must be nice because it just makes it keeps it fresh for you guys as well. You know what I mean? You're getting a different kind of reaction. You guys can kind of, you can kind of channel that, or you can try little things differently here and there if you want to. You've got a reason to try something a little bit different because, you're working, as face. But it must just be, I say, it's nice because it's different. That's the way I can kind of put it, I suppose.
Yes, it's like you say, it's refreshing because in training, if our coach, Nathan or Liam, said, right, Reece Rogan, I want you to be a babyface against these two. Go do this match in training. You can do whatever you want in training, but you can't replicate that atmosphere of a show. So, as they're naturally turned as babyface, it was weird. Like we felt it out there, and we've been feeling out there ever since. We can't replicate it in training, so we're just kind of winging it.
But also being face, you get the benefit of the hot tag. So do you kind of play into that? Have you started thinking like, right, if we're the good guys, we get that hot tag moment, you get to pop the crowd. Because that's one of the best things in tag team wrestling is, the good team are getting smashed down. The baddies are just being absolute twats. And then all of a sudden, bam, hot tag, crowd pop, boom.
Yeah, I would say Reece is probably more the better baby face. He's better at being more loud and charismatic and explosive, where I'm more of a brawler. Reece does moves. So we did a match recently, well, not recently, a few months ago with Mike Baird and KM Lane, which was a really good match. Me taking the beat, and I was just getting my ass beat for a lot, which was weird to be in that position. But yeah, when Reece got that hot tag, the place came unglued. It's weird. Like you saying it now, I thought about it, but yeah. Reece doing the hot tags. Weird. Yeah.
It's crazy, isn't it? But it's like I say, man, it's just like it's just nice. I'd obviously lean into it, enjoy it. And it's good. It shows other people, you can do both. You've got that diversity, you've got that ability to just kind of flow with it. You mentioned North earlier. Obviously, what's coming up, because that's the promotion for me that is, probably one of the top 5 in the country at the minute. So any chance to work at North has got to be something to look forward to.
Yeah, so North is doing a tag team tournament and this is a big opportunity for us. So North is, as you probably know, it's a very adult audience. It's very they're known for being more out there and more invested, as in terms of like adults like saying, chanting, doing their own chants, and getting invested in the matches in different ways instead of doing the whole hey. They have their own ways, and the style is a lot more. That's the way I can say it. It's either indie or they have loads of different matches. Yeah, it's different. So it's a big opportunity for me and Reece, and we're really trying to get out there more and do different styles, and we're going to try and bring our style to North, see if it clicks, see if, like the Tidal fans have, see if they'll buy into this Yorkshire tough style. Just going to be our normal aggressive selves. We aren't going to not be us. We're just going to see if our style fits what they want and just hope for the best. It's a big opportunity. We're nervous, we're excited, but most importantly, I don't want to sound egotistical, but we're ready. We're ready for this opportunity.
I can't see it be anything but successful. I think if I was to kind of try to predict, I think you'll go in his heels, but then I think you'll very quickly win the fans over, and I think it'll be that case of first match boos, second match appreciation, cheer, and then it building into cheers. That's the way I would see it personally.
I would like it. I'd like it to go that way. It would be pretty cool. We're not scared to get into fans' faces and the adult vibe fans. I get the more heads out. We're not afraid to give it back. If them fans want to get clever, we'll get clever right back.
I think you guys are going to be a perfect fit. I think you're smart enough, you're clever enough to know what you're doing. And the fans up there are obviously very clever in regards to knowing what's going on, knowing the talent, but also having that appreciation and respect. So I think you guys are a perfect fit for North. Hopefully, I'm proved right. Apologies, I've just knocked something off my table. But yeah, I think obviously you get to work North, dude. That's a massive deal, and I think you guys will absolutely smash it. So yeah, I think that's a good place to kind of be like. So actually, no, I'm going to ask a generic question again. I'm going to ask. I like asking people this at the minute because I like to see what they say. A lot of people have lists of talents or promotions they want to work for or work against. Have you got said list? Have you made this dream list?
Well, at the beginning of this podcast, I named a lot of the trainers, the 4 trainers, Nathan, Myers, Bailey, and Liam. We've worked Nathan and we've worked Myers. We really want to work Liam Slayer and Sam Bailey at some point. They are the 2, either together or with whoever they want to be with. We want to work them 2 at some point just to say, right, the core 4, we've worked you and we've proven to you that A, we've taken your advice on board, B, we've then used it to work with you, and C, proving you right that you should have trusted us and put your advice in us because we're taking it on board and we're taking it elsewhere, and then we're telling others thank you, and now we're repaying it.
We're going to say thank you for the years of learning by smashing your facing and chopping your chest in.
Well, it's almost like you read my mind, but
dude, it's been a genuine pleasure. Thank you so much. Get your stuff plugged, dude. Where can people find what you're up to on Twitter or Insta or anywhere else?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Big Hoss Rogan, or you can find our merchandise at www.reeceandrogan.co.uk. And remember that Alan K in a singular is a big scary bastard.
Yeah. When he's got leather trousers on.
Oh, okay.
That's it. So without the leather trousers, but he's wearing sweats, happy as Larry, big smile on his face. Puts the leather pants on. Angry man.
Fair the angry man, I think.
Dude, it has been a genuine pleasure though. Thank you so much. Obviously, as we said, please try and get to Fight Factory. Charity show, great cause. It'll be a great night of wrestling. Obviously, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, share, do all the stuff you would normally do after watching something on YouTube. Let people know that we're here, and keep your eyes peeled, because as I said before, we've got Hardman Dan coming up soon. I've got loads of other people coming on as well. My mind's just gone totally blank, so I am going to go away now before I just gibber like a fool. So I'm going to say, dude, it has been a pleasure. Thank you so much, and we will see you again very soon.
Thank you, man. Thank you for the opportunity.